There's a feeling many of us know well. This persistent, frustrating sense that you're working harder than ever, but not really getting anywhere. And this feeling, it runs directly against one of our most fundamental beliefs, that hard work is what makes people successful. In this explainer, we're going to calmly examine why this belief is often an incomplete map of our economic reality.
From the time we're in school to conversations around the dinner table, we're taught a very simple and powerful idea. If you just apply enough effort over enough time, you'll find success. It's a comforting thought, isn't it? It promises a clear, fair path to a better life. And we hear it so often it just becomes a truth we don't question. And yet, if this formula were a universal law, then the world's wealthiest people would simply be its hardest workers. A quick look at the world around us suggests the connection is, well, a lot more complex than that. It's time we took a closer look at why there's such a disconnect.
So, let's start by breaking down this promise. At its core, it's a simple, three-step plan that seems to offer a straight line to financial security.
You know the formula. Put in the hours, be disciplined with your habits, and of course, save a part of everything you earn. The unspoken promise here is that this dedication will build on itself, compounding over time and leading, inevitably, to prosperity. And this idea is so appealing because it feels just. It feels like a perfectly balanced scale, where what you put in is exactly what you get out. It suggests the world is logical and fair. But the economic system, it doesn't always play by those intuitive rules.
This observation really gets to the heart of the matter. It's a stark, unavoidable contradiction, and it forces us to question the very assumptions we have about effort and reward. It suggests there's a critical piece of the equation that we're missing.
So why is this belief in pure effort so deeply ingrained in us? Well, the answer isn't just in our culture, but in our own biology. This link between effort and reward, it's a primal instinct.
For our ancestors, effort was directly tied to survival. It's simple. The harder they hunted or the more they gathered, the safer their community was. Our brains literally evolved to connect physical work with good outcomes. It's why just being busy can feel productive, and why exhaustion can sometimes feel like a badge of honor.
And right here is the fundamental problem. The modern economy is a completely different world. It's a complex, abstract system of finance and leverage that just doesn't operate by the same physical rules as our hunter-gatherer past.
The financial system is completely impersonal. It doesn't measure how tired you are. It doesn't track your hours. It operates on a totally different metric, the creation of economic value. And that is a very different game.
So, if the system doesn't primarily reward raw effort, what does it reward? The answer is position. Your location within the economic structure. And that one variable changes the entire equation.
Let's ground this whole idea in observation. A quick look at the real world reveals a pretty startling and consistent disconnect between how hard someone works and how much they earn.
Just think about the people who do some of the most physically demanding and essential jobs in our society. They're the backbone of our economy, yet their work is very often among the lowest paid. They are living proof of the limits of effort by itself. And on the other side of things, when we see the highest earners, it's a mistake to just assume their income comes purely from being smarter or luckier or even working more hours. The truth is, there is something else going on.
And so we arrive at a difficult but necessary realization. In our economic system, income is not primarily determined by the sheer volume of your effort.
It is determined by your position. This is the variable that truly matters, where you are located within the architecture of the economy.
So, how does a person improve their position? Well, it begins with understanding that there are two fundamentally different ways to even participate in the economy.
On the one hand, you can trade your time for money. This is what most of us do in a job. But it's inherently limited, right? There are only so many hours in a day. On the other hand, you can own systems. Things like a business, an investment, a piece of intellectual property that can generate value without your direct time. A programmer who gets a salary is trading time. The person who owns the software company owns a system that can scale.
You see, the modern economy is basically a structure that's built to reward very specific principles. Ownership gives you a claim on future value. Leverage lets you amplify your actions. And scale lets you serve thousands or millions instead of just one person at a time.
These are the mechanisms that generate significant wealth. And they have very little to do with how hard you're working, and everything to do with how your work is structured. This isn't about working harder. It's about working differently.
Now, this realization isn't a reason to become cynical, not at all. It's a call for a new mental model,
It's about making a crucial shift in perspective, from just working harder to thinking strategically about where and how you apply that effort.
Let me be perfectly clear. Hard work is essential, but it's only one part of the puzzle. Think of it like fuel for a car. Fuel is absolutely necessary, but without a steering wheel to direct it and a map to guide it, you're not going to get anywhere. So what does this strategic thinking actually look like? Well, first, it means understanding the landscape, the basic rules of how money and value move through the economy. Second, it means building skills that can be scaled, things that create value that isn't tied to a single hour of your time. And finally, it requires thinking long-term, shifting your focus from just having a job to strategically positioning yourself to own a piece of a system.
Ultimately, the economic system is not personal. It doesn't have feelings. It's a mechanism with a specific set of operating rules. It simply rewards those who understand those rules. The goal, then, isn't to be angry at the system, but to understand it. Because once you do, you can begin to make different choices. The question isn't whether you should work hard. It's how to ensure your hard work is positioned to truly matter.